Good afternoon, everyone. We're now ready to begin the Boston College press conference. We're joined by head coach Earl Grant, student athletes DeMarr Langford Jr. and Makai Ashton-Langford. We're going to ask Coach for an opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
Yeah, really proud of the guys. Showing great resilience. I thought this season kind of really built our endurance up with everything that we saw this year, whether it be wins or overtime losses. So just really happy for the guys, to be able to continue to climb up the hill and, advance and get an opportunity to play on the third day of the tournament.
If you have a question in the room, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. If you have a question on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. All right, we'll start with a question on Zoom. Let's go to Dan Rubin first. Dan, unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on the win. It seemed like early on there was just an ability to defend the three-pointer on Wake Forest, and it kind of continued throughout the game. How does that plan? What worked, and how did you kind of sustain that over the course of the full game?
I mean, it's a good effort. We had a one-day prep. We talked about what we needed to do. We knew they had, a couple really good shooters and some guys who can get into the paint. So, our guys they did what we do. We kind of work at that all year. And we just happened to be in a game in the ACC Tournament where we had to be, the best version of ourselves as it pertains to contesting threes and trying to get the stops. And so the players just did the job. They did a good job of, following the game plan. Like I said, it was a one-day prep. So really, with a one-day prep, you got to kind of go be who you are. And we just did that.
We're going to go to the middle of the room here.
Hey, Coach. How important was it for Quinton Post and James Karnick, both your big men, to be able to dominate today? Because usually, as you said in the past, it's usually one or the other. But today, they combined for 25 points. How important was that in your game plan and for you to win this game?
I mean, it's always important to be able to, we talk about it all the time. If, in football, if you only can pass and you can't run the ball, that's a bad thing. And so in order to, running the ball in basketball is getting it to the paint, whether it be dribble penetration or post feeds. And so we talk about that all the time. Our guys were driving the ball. They were delivering it in the post. Some of it was on ball screen rolls. It wasn't always just straight up post-ups. It was our guards making decisions in the pick and roll and finding them at the rim, and they just had to deliver. So I think it was a combination of posting them and, the guards just making good reads on the ball screen situations.
We're going to go to Brett down front.
To either of the players, on the last play of regulation, did you kind of figure that Alondas was going to try to make something happen and talk about how you defended that, please?
DeMarr, can you take that first?
Yeah, we knew the ball was going to be in his hands at the end of the game, and Coach preaches, be in the gaps, get your knife bloody. Don't take that into, for real, but just be in the gaps, overhelp, and, Makai did a great job taking the charge. I was right there to help him up, and, it was a great play by him.
Yeah, I try to keep my feet in front of him. I know he's a really good player. He gets to the spots he wants to get to, and he kind of put his head down, and I knew I was going to take the charge right as soon as he did that. So that was just instincts by me, I guess.
It was a play of the game, too.
We're going to go to Luke in the middle.
For either player, you guys had the lead in the second half. Wake Forest comes back, goes up 10. What was the mood like at that point? How were you guys able to kind of re-rally and get back in the game and get it to overtime?
Makai, can you take that one first?
I feel like we was just trying to keep ourselves energized. It's difficult to be a great team if you're not sticking together through those rough times. So we kind of rallied together and just stayed energized and confident no matter what happened on the court.
For me, we've been in that position many times. We get down and, we try to, play catch up. And, I think it shows like the heart. We ain't got nothing else to lose. If we lose, we go home. If we win, we advance. And that's what Coach, preaches in the locker room. And, we went out there and got it done tonight.
Question in the middle down front.
Yeah, this is for the coach and players. I thought that 1 point first half, 1 point second half, and then in overtime you beat them by 5. Anything you said or did different before you went into that overtime?
I'll let them answer it, but I mean, this is our third overtime game. We had some, good overtime games this season. And usually when we got in the first one, we say, you know what, we need this for right now. This is perfect to be in this type of game, this type of season for our growth. Then we got into it again. We've been here before, guys. We've been here before. Then the day it was just so heated and competitive that we really didn't say anything except, hey, we got to execute these things. We got to get these stops. And the players just went out there and, did what they needed to do. I give them all the credit because they made the plays. We kept it really simple, and they just made the plays.
We definitely stayed focused out there. Sometimes as the game goes on, guys may be off on their own, but we did a really good job of keeping everybody together and not separating in those difficult times.
We go Dan on the front left here.
I forgot to answer the question.
Coach, just what you can say about, how this team is playing at this point in the season, just what you did in the first round, and then obviously to stave off Wake Forest, and that's just your overall takeaways from how this team is performing at this point in the season.
I mean, we talked about this in August and September. We want to be playing our best basketball in March. We just want to keep getting better. We want to focus on the growth. We want to play our best basketball in March. So we're in March, and we played pretty good today. So that's just growth. And we always talk about tomorrow ain't promised. We don't really know exactly, what the next day gonna hold. But we did what we needed to do today. And so we'll regroup and continue the game plan and just be thankful that we get a chance to continue to play.
We have a question from Zoom. Andy Backstrom, go ahead with your question.
This one's for Coach Grant. I know we've talked about Jaden Zachary and how he's kind of older than he even seems, but the discipline he had coming in with 4 fouls late in that game, what do you think that speaks to?
Well, I mean, he's just a tough kid. To be a freshman and just play night in and night out, 35, 36 minutes, I mean, it's unbelievable. He's tough. He can defend, he can shoot. He's got a good personality, so he's really tight with all of the guys, in a short period of time. So we're just fortunate that he's on our side, and he's just a tough kid. I really don't know. I can't put into words kind of what he's meant to us this year in a short period of time, because freshmen usually go through a really, tough up and down battles and trying to figure out how to get to the floor. But from day one, he's just been a warrior.
We're going to go to the right side of the room here.
Coach, after finishing the regular season on a 3-game losing streak, what's been different across these 2 tournament games?
Nothing. I mean, this is a good league. Really ain't nothing different. Every night you play is a hard game. We try to play to our standards. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But, we always get back on our horse. That's one thing about this team. We fall down, we get back up. And so really don't mean anything different, Like I said, sometimes you lose a game in a 1 or 2 point game or 1 or 2 possession game. The night we won a 1 possession game. So it's hard to win. It's hard to win. So we're trying to learn how to win. We're trying to learn how to be a great team, and that's a pursuit for us. And so we made a good step today.
We go back to the right side of the room here.
For either DeMarr or Makai, just wondering, obviously today was the second game in 2 days. Tomorrow will be 3 games in 3 days. Do you guys, from your perspective, view that as any sort of advantage, maybe just not thinking about it as much and just going out and playing?
DeMarr, can you take that one first?
For me personally, I just go out there and play, at my hardest every night, no matter the time span in between games. Because there was one point during the season, I think we had, what was it, like three games? 5 games in 8 days, 9 days, something like that. So, in this type of, at this level, there's, advantages and disadvantages. We can't really look at that. We trying to, go out here and win a championship, try and just keep advancing. We can't look at the advantages, disadvantages, nothing like that. We just got to go out there and play.
Our next question will come from Zoom. Chris Hydell, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Coach Grant, it's Chris Hydell from Hermiton Radio. Congratulations on your win and your second win in the ACC. Just talk about tomorrow with the 3rd game in 3 days. I know you guys were just talking about it, but you're playing a Miami squad that you kind of lost by 10 the last time at home. So what do you guys have to do to keep everything rolling?
Draw on the endurance that we've developed throughout the year and trust each other, get some rest tonight, game plan, and be thankful that we get a chance to play.
We're going to go to the left side of the room here.
DeMarr and Makai, Wake beat you guys by 30 when you went to their place earlier in the season. Do you think they came in maybe a little too comfortable, or do you think they maybe overlooked how good you guys are?
I think we just came out with a little bit more fire under us. We came off a little COVID stretch, and then I think we played Wake and then North Carolina back to back, and it was we kind of came out sluggish in that game. So I feel like we just came out with a little bit more fire under us, and we was able to withhold the lead for a minute and then capitalize at the end.
And our last question will come from the right of the room here.
Yeah, pardon my ignorance of Boston history, but can you explain the background of the Heights and why you guys chose that as an alternate jersey slogan?
Nah, I don't even.
It's a good question. It's a really good question, and we'll have an answer. We get back to the stage, we'll have an answer for you.
Perfect one to end on. Thanks so much, guys. Congrats
Appreciate
on
it,
the
guys.
win.
Thank you, guys.